Hey guys, you're listening to Vol, and here we are with another game of War Machine and Hordes. This time it is the Circle of Orboros against Cryx, the undead faction, as people think of them, of War Machine. My opponent for today will be Daryl, and I just want to say a few background things. Daryl is a Warhammer opponent of mine, Warhammer Fantasy that is, who plays Dwarves and Vampire Counts. You'll have seen him in my battle reports in the past. Just want you guys to bear in mind that for this game, Daryl has only recently just converted to War Machine and started playing, so he's got the Cryx battle box with pDeneghra and a few of those sort of bone chicken dudes and the Warjack, and he's only just expanded his army to 35 points by getting a unit of Bane Thralls and a Deathjack. So he hasn't really sort of tailor-made his army to, or net listed it, so to speak, to make it optimal. You guys got to appreciate that during this game, that he hasn't sort of just gone out and bought exactly the models he needs to make the most powerful pDeneghra list he possibly can. I've been playing a lot of games against my friend Lee lately, who does actually have a bit more of an optimized Cryx list. Really, you'd want to be using stuff like Bane Thralls with the unit attachment to give them tough and so forth, with Banelord Tartarus to really improve them above and beyond that. You want to get a few of those solos in there, because there's a lot of Cryx supporting solos which are really, really useful. And pDeneghra, I mean, she's got a lot of offensive sort of spells in her feet, sort of works better with some units than others, but this is a learning game for both of us, and as you can see, I've actually got a newer sort of circle list from what you saw last time. I'm running Mohsar, who's one of my favourite warlocks. I've got a brand new unit of Blood Trackers. They're a maximum unit with Nuala, the character UA. I've got a Wold Warden, and the Feral Warp Wolf that you see there is not actually a proxy. He really is a Feral Warp Wolf this game. I've got my Wolf Riders, and I've even got a brand new model from a company called Studio McVeigh. More about him later. You guys might remember Mike McVeigh from Games Workshop. He's got his own range of miniatures out now, and I've picked up one of his guys to represent a Gorax, because I don't really like the PP Gorax model, and of course I've got the Shifting Stones there too. So next image, here's a bit of a better look at Daryl's army. He's got pDeneghra at the back, he's got his battle box units set out there along with the Bane Thralls and the Deathjack advanced deployment up front. Next, a look at my stuff. You can see that I've also got a Mike McVeigh miniature representing Mohsar. That's the Raven Priest guy with the cloud of ravens coming out of his mouth. Man, that guy breaks if you even breathe on him. He's a resin model. He's extremely detailed and beautiful. One of the best models that I've ever seen. But very fragile too, so you've got to take care of him. He's really more meant for the mantelpiece than the gaming table, but I just can't resist putting him on the field. So there you have it. I've also got my Blood Trackers coming along. Haven't finished painting them, as you can see though. Next image, I begin, and Mohsar has upkept Sunhammer. Well, he's put it in play, I should say. I'll be upkeeping it next turn onwards. And although I've played a few games with Mohsar now, I haven't really had any opportunities to really kick ass with Sunhammer, but this will be the game, because my opponent has got no less than 5 Warjacks, so that's going to be awesome. Also moving up with my infantry in the stones here, just getting in a position behind this forest, because this forest is going to be pivotal to the game really. It'll slow my opponent down more than it will with me, so I'll be able to get him into a bit of a funneled sort of position. Also put Mirage down on the Blood Trackers. Haven't had many opportunities to really succeed with that spell yet, but I know that there'll be some really golden opportunities to use that one day. Next image, the Wolf Riders have moved into the forest. I have selected the prey target as the Bane Thralls with both of my prey units, so the Wolf Riders and the Blood Trackers are both going for the Bane Thralls, just because I consider them to be quite dangerous. Although having said that, they are much less dangerous since they don't have the UA and Tartarus backing them up. Having thought about it a bit more after playing this game, even the Deathjack might have been a slightly better target, but still, you do want to clear out those Bane Thralls, because they can be nasty even on their own. Next image, Daryl responds, and he really just trudges everything forward. pDeneghra is essentially out of range at this point. You guys may note that my alternative list that I could have played against Daryl would have been Chromac. I've played about a dozen games with Chromac now, so I don't really need much more practice with him at this point. But Chromac is a really good counter to pDeneghra because of Bestial and being able to shut down his spells like that. I mean, they've both got the same control range. Chromac just does wonders against her, but I didn't really want to sort of pull that in Daryl straight away. I wanted to try out Mohsar. Mohsar was going to be making for much more of a fun game, and I really needed the practice with him. So rather than just stick with my sort of safe list, I wanted to try this out. Next image, my responding turn, I move the Wolf Riders around to throw some javelins, of course forgetting like an idiot that the Bane Thralls have stealth, so only I think one of my Wolf Riders was barely within range, and despite that did manage to kill him with a well-placed throw. Thankfully that was my prey target anyway, so that's what's happened there. And of course, whipping back to safely. But in the next image, the Blood Trackers now move up. He's got his Warjack on the hill there, but I've used the Wold Warden to move up into range as well. He actually got teleported using the Shifting Stones, and used Geomancy to cast Curse of Shadows. Really enjoying the synergy of the Wold Warden, because Mohsar has just got so much to do every turn with Pillars Assault and Curse of Shadows and Mirage and Sunhammer and all that stuff, that you want to use the Wold Warden to further that, and being able to cast Curse of Shadows with them is just great, and even be able to boost it, by forcing the Wold Warden's cool. So that's nice, and the Blood Trackers unfortunately needed 9s to hit this Warjack on the hill, but enough of them managed to hit that I caused some severe damage to him, actually taking out a couple of his arms. So that was a good way to get into that position. And of course, if you go to the next image, they can use their Reform movement to pull back thanks to Noella, and then Mohsar puts down 3 Pillars Assault, really hampering any sort of retaliation that the Cryx might be able to pull in the next turn. Of course he can do it, but he'll have to get through the pillars and sort of waste some of the actions of his units, and then I can just pounce on him if he pulls it that way. And he's in a bit of an oblique line at this point, so not all of the Cryx army will be able to hit me at once, and that's the idea. Next image, he has tried to take down one of these pillars. It's been corroded by some sort of corrosion spell attack. I'm not even sure if you can get a corrosion effect in the building. We just sort of had a laugh about it and put the marker there anyway. Obviously it doesn't make any difference in this game whether it is corroded or not, so it's just a trivial sort of have a laugh moment. Next image, though, he's moved his little bone chicken dude around to the side where the Wolf Riders are hanging, trying to hit them with a spray, but the defense too high for the Wolf Riders, and he misses, fortunately for me. After that, he does manage to take down one pillar and moves the Bane Thralls around, but doesn't really have an opportunity to get any of the guys into combat with the Wold Warden. So next turn I plan on really just doing the same thing, moving around, throwing some more javelins, putting down the pillars again, and just wait for him to sort of traffic jam himself before I look for any opportunities to really commit to fighting. So next turn, next photo, sorry, you see exactly the same thing happen. I've moved my guys in, thrown the javelins again, and then pulled back. I've used both the forest and the pillars to block all that line of sight wall there. I've also got my feral on the left, just in case he comes around the other side with his Deathjack. If he does that, what I'll do is I'll send the feral in with the Gorax Primal Animus, and hopefully Curse the Shadows from the Woldwood on the Deathjack, and take him out. So I'm pretty confident I can manage that, especially with Sunhammer going off every turn here, and his Warjack's already losing a bit of health, so I think I can pull that off. Next image, the Wolf Riders decide to assault the little bone chicken here. Man, these guys have a very high defense rating, and I really underestimated that. So these guys are now stuck in combat with the little chicken thing, and needing 9s to hit. I just couldn't roll a 9 to save myself, even with all those attacks. 3 jabs, 3 wolf attacks, 3 rider attacks, just got nothing. So next image, pDeneghra really getting in here, sending everybody forward, and hasn't popped her feet. I really thought that there was a lot of pressure on her to pop her feet at this point, because at this stage, if I counterattack, I can do quite a lot of damage, but if the feet went off here, I wouldn't have been able to do that. Having said that, though, if he did pop his feet at this point, what I could do is just sprint everything backwards or run everything backwards, put down more pillars, and just wait for the feet to expire and then attack, and I would have really gained a big lead. So I guess, having thought about that, the feet wasn't really the best option here, but he hasn't anyway, so I'll really be worried here that if I counterattack, he might then be able to pop his feet and sort of undo the damage that I've caused by just eliminating everything. Next image, he's moved the very much crippled Jack over here to attack the the blood trackers, and I think he missed with his attacks at this point. So I'm alright here, but it prevents me from doing anything with these two particular girls that are in combat. The next photo, though, here's where I decide to just launch everything. I had some really good charge lanes here with most of my guys, so everything goes in on the Bane Thralls, and the good thing about Nuala is that she gives them quick work as well. So with Prey in there, with Curse of Shadows going off from the Wold Warden before I sent them in, I did a really big number on the Bane Thralls, just thrashing them. Thank God that they didn't have the UA, otherwise it'd be tough, but because of that I was able to wipe out every single Bane Thrall, and several of them were able to use quick work to throw jabs at pDeneghra and hit her a couple of times, so that actually took about a quarter or a third of her health off at the end of the day. So a pretty good move. And if you go to the next image, here's the mop-up, and I've used Reform to push 3 of the models into base-to-base with pDeneghra as well, meaning that she'll have to sort of expend some of her action and ability and spells to get out of the scenario while I regroup with the rest of my forces. Next image, the Death Jack. During that turn, he had a whole bunch of pillars placed in front of him to prevent him from doing anything special. So he's picked up some focus and he's moved around trying to cast some spells on the blood trackers, and indeed managing to take them. In fact, this photo was taken after he'd moved into base-to-base with a couple of them, of course wiping them out. Also, I've shifted the prey target from both the Wolf Riders and the blood trackers onto pDeneghra herself at this stage. So next image, here's a bit of an overview. He's actually retaliated quite nicely, wiping out all but 3 of the blood trackers, who then failed their Fearless, so their command check. And I've had to respond by putting Fearless Assault down between pDeneghra and the Death Jack to prevent any more damage, but I feel like I'm in a dominating lead here because his only other Warjack on the top right has been severely crippled. I've got all 3 of my Warbeasts left up, and the Wolf Riders may eventually finish off his little chicken on the left-hand side. That combat's been raging for ages with nothing going on, so hopefully I can manage. Next image, he's still got this annoying little light Warjack here, so I've sent in the Feral to deal with it, punching him up and hopefully putting some blockage between him and the Death Jack. Going to the next image, I still didn't even take him out, so I've sent the Wold Warden in as well to try and pummel him, and I think I did manage to succeed there. So if you go to the next photo after that, oh yeah, what actually happened here is that, no, I've talked about it in the wrong order. The Wold Warden moved in first. The Feral had been there since the previous turn, failing to kill the little chicken somehow. I think I'm recounting this right. I'm making some mistakes with the account of the battle report here, but what I do know happened is that the Wold Warden did bust up on the little Warjack there. I did put Primal on the Feral. I did get Curse of Shadows on the Death Jack, and the Feral charged over and killed the Death Jack, smashing it to pieces and used up all of its fury. And then I boxed pDeneghra in with a triple Pillar's Assault. Of course, she can use a spell to get out of that, but yeah, I just wanted to waste some of her time there and hopefully surround her later on. So go to the next photo. Daryl had, pretty much given up hope here and just attacked the Wold Warden in close combat with pDeneghra. Didn't really do a lot of damage, but in the following turn he swung back and bashed her in the face. So that was it. Quite an enjoyable game. I think both of us learnt quite a lot. Me sort of getting used to Mohsar and infantry and so forth, but really looking forward to him. I think he's got a lot of potential as a caster, and he'll be a useful tool in the box in terms of me countering certain lists. He's not going to be good all of the time, but he's going to be a great one. He's got a lot of depth to his gameplay. Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed this one.